Hello everybody, hope you guys had a happy holidays, happy new year, and welcome back to What's Been Playing. Or in this case, maybe reflecting upon? Well, it looks like it's that time of year again. A brand new year is upon us. Goodbye 2021 and hello 2022. More importantly though, I can beg the question of, why are there so many sequels to the year zero?
2021. Quite the year. I began YouTube as a hobby, I began my career as a college student, and of course, I got to experience some pretty cool games that were released this year, as well as discover some classics. As opposed to putting a spotlight on selective video games and answering that lifelong question of what is really worth playing, today, we're going to take a look back on the gaming season 2021, as well as a quick list of my personal top 6 games that I've played this year. A 2021 retrospective, you could say. Why top 6 though? Well, why not? With the heavy increase in schoolwork as college rolled around, the amount of games I was able to thoroughly play shrunk a bit, so I don't think I could have made a genuine top 10 list.
Keep in mind though, this list isn't exclusive to games that released this year, but more so just games that I played throughout the entire year. So there might be some games that were released a long time ago that I just managed to get to this year. For now though, why don't we take a trip through memory lane and look at 2021 in the gaming scene, and see which games stood out. Welcome to my 2021 retrospective and top 6.
Following the not only strange but lackluster year of 2020, I think a lot of people were hoping that 2021 would help put the gaming industry back on its feet. And I was in that camp as well. While a lot of decent games did release in 2020 like Persona 5 Royal, Crash Bandicoot 4, and Animal Crossing New Horizons, I think gamers wanted some more heavy hitters to greet them in the new year. And I'd say that there was a bit to look forward to as well moving into 2021. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Mini Fridge were about to spend their first year on the market, and Nintendo was back to uploading Nintendo Directs again, no matter how...
Sure, a lot of you saw me and thought there might be news about the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to share right now.
disappointing the February Direct was.
Since this is more of a personal retrospective, I'll be putting more of a highlight on the systems that I own, aka Nintendo Switch and a PS5. I don't own an Xbox, so I won't be talking about the games that released on that platform too much, but I'll make sure to bring up certain games whenever it's appropriate to.
One thing is for sure, last year wasn't absent of some great releases. I think 2021 had a much more consistent flow of quality titles. At this time, developers were most likely slowly getting accustomed to working at home and whatnot, but it didn't stop some great releases from gracing store shelves. To name a few, Resident Evil Village was another fantastic addition to the series that kickstarted the survival horror genre in the first place. Psychonauts 2 released back in August, and while I haven't played it yet, I want to. Very badly. It looks like a fantastic follow-up to its predecessor. The Other World Ends With You was a really awesome sequel to the DS cult classic and featured a pretty good soundtrack. WarioWare Get It Together was a fun time and is made even better with multiplayer. New Pokemon Snap was also a pretty fun time. This was the first Pokemon Snap game I tried, so going into it, I didn't think that I would be too interested in the concept, but I gotta say, I was hooked way more than I thought I would have been.
Dude, that's the weirdest Pikachu I've ever seen.
Ooh, but now it's time to talk about a big boy game, Metroid Dread. Finally, a sequel to Metroid Fusion, which was released back in 2002. Metroid was a series I heavily got into during the spring. When I was younger, I would always pick them up, but never really finish them. But after playing through most of the 2D games like Fusion, Zero Mission, Super Metroid, Samus Returns, they're so good. On that topic, a good amount of other long-running series got some great new entries as well. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was a great return to one of Insomniac's premier franchises and a great demonstration of the PS5. Mario Golf Super Rush was a great entry in the Mario sports genre, bringing that wacky, zany Mario sports action that the series is known for, while also getting consistent updates. I thought that the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes were pretty decent and had a refreshing degree of challenge after the cakewalk that was Sword and Shield. On the topic of RPGs, Persona 5 Strikers, the sort of sequel to Persona 5 release, and I thought it was alright. It was made by the dudes who made the Dynasty Warriors games, and while I do like those games, I think Strikers fell a tad flat due to trying to mix the structure of the palace from the original P5 with the hack-and-slash gameplay of Warriors. Some games got some new DLC updates that helped them feel fresh again, like Animal Crossing getting a huge update that added Happy Home Paradise, a full-on extra mode that allows you to design vacation homes and other such buildings. Smash Ultimate ended its line of DLC fighters with a huge bang, adding Sora to the fray. You genuinely don't know how excited I was to see this. He's been one of my top characters I hope to see in Smash for a while now. Ports of Skyward Sword, Miitopia, and Crash Bandicoot 4 were nice to see and brought some neat touch-ups to make them feel different from their original versions.
I think that 2021 had a good mix of both older and newer experiences, and for said older experiences, the ports and remakes had enough touch-ups to make them feel like the definitive versions of those games.
course, though, not every title was a banger, though. 2021 was home to a few stinkers here or there, or some games that could have been released in a better state. Sonic Colors Ultimate, while a decent remake, suffered from some pretty bad performance issues, especially on the Switch, and an overall lack of new content. Battle in Wonderworld was pretty garbage for having some pretty shit level design and abilities that are quite worthless. Honestly, I think this game wins Worst Game of the Year. Disappointing given the fact that it was directed by the legendary Yuji Naka, aka the father of Sonic the Hedgehog. Guess it fits in line with Sonic's tradition of releasing some hot garbage as well. Battlefield 2042 is a prime example that a good trailer doesn't lead to a good game. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is a really unique and creative idea, but was released in an unfinished state.
Well, it looks like the monkeys behind Activision have gotten out of their cages again.
The Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack released to a pretty unanimous ew. Yeah, $50 for a Nintendo 64 and Genesis emulator as well as the Animal Crossing DLC? Absolutely not.
And of course, during this difficult time, the process of game design has been made much harder. I think that a fraction of the games listed here didn't do as well as they did, either because of poor communication or rushed development.
I think that developers are still trying to find a way to both communicate with one another and work at an efficient pace during this time. Games like Sonic Colors and Wonderworld are perfect examples of that. But hopefully though, 2022 will be different.
On a more positive note, while 2021 gave us a lot of good releases, it also gave us a lot of exciting games to look forward to. But you might want to keep an eye out for a certain Let's Discuss episode in the future that puts more attention on them. So yeah, the gaming scene in 2021, it was some pretty alright stuff. Again, I did miss a couple select titles, but you gotta remember, personal retrospective. Now I couldn't get to every game. But who knows, maybe this year I'll actually be able to get to those games that I missed. After the awkward phase of 2020, I think that 2021 was able to turn things around and give us some decent titles on all the platforms out there right now. But as I said earlier, this is only part 1 of the video. You may have noticed that during this retrospective, I left some titles out. Maybe there's a reason? I think that my list this year has a healthy combination of games that did release in the year and some older games that I was able to go back and play for the first time. But enough chit chat, let's cut the bullshit. It's time for my top 6 of 2021.
Benji's top 6 of 2021. God damn it, PETA's gonna hate me for this! Oh right, Sega owns properties other than Sonic. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is what Mario Party Superstars did for the Mario Party franchise, a means to celebrate what made the series special in the first place. Just like another Sega-published game with a similar title, eh? To celebrate the 20th anniversary of Super Monkey Ball, Ryuga Gotoku Studio, hope I said that right, created Banana Mania that served as a remake of the first 3 games. Prior to Banana Mania, the Monkey Ball series was in a bit of a weird spot after Banana Blitz released on the Wii back in 2006. The games that followed B-Blitz were just unable to capture that level of enjoyment the Monkey Ball series was known for. Back in 2019, however, the series made a bit of a comeback after a 5-year hiatus with a remake of Banana Blitz. Ah yes, remake interest in the series by remaking one of the games that isn't widely loved, Genius. Well, it seems that there was a good amount of positive reception from it, and that brings us to today with Banana Mania. Banana Mania has everything that made the first 3 games special and then some, and serves as a great love letter to fans of the franchise. The main story is structured just like the original games, arcade-like platformers in which the player rotates the level to get your monkey to the goal. That's it. But in this case, simplicity is a great thing. The core gameplay of Monkey Ball is already solid, featuring this arcade-like energy that keeps you coming back. It just doesn't help that Fallout! 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 Yeah, I'm not very good at these games.
However, I think that the Monkey Ball games have this level of challenge that don't make you want to rage quit, at least in my opinion. I think that the process of maneuvering II and Co. through all the courses is not only satisfying, but also fun, which I think makes those moments where you do fall off not as detrimental.
The game controls just like the older games too as well, from my experience at least, so I felt like that I was able to ease my way back into the game, with levels that are the perfect mix of a solid challenge and are you fucking kidding me? But the main game isn't the only thing you can do here. As tradition with the series, you have dozens of different party games that you can play by yourself or with friends. Somehow though, they managed to make the games feel much better than they used to, but messed up the one that felt good to control in the first place? How do you do that? We had a variety of challenge modes based off Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2, leaderboards, a shop where you can buy cosmetics, and even custom characters, a plethora of different options allow you to spice up the gameplay. It's a heavily customizable experience. The game is just full of content that will keep you wanting to come back. Though once you get through all of it, however, I wouldn't say there is a ton to keep you coming back besides the party games or the online leaderboards. But regardless, Banana Mania pleasantly surprised me and was a great return to the series' roots and a blast to play through. It oozes content as an anniversary title should. And I'll be honest, this one was hard to put down during recording sessions because I just wanted to keep playing. But on the topic of celebrations, I just took a look at this game in the last episode, so I won't spend as much time here, but goddamn, it's just too good to talk about just once. Mario Party Superstars was ND Cube's genuine attempt at making a good Mario Party game for once. More importantly, however, a return to the style of Mario Party that made the Hudson era MP games so special. I've already played hours of this game with friends, and it's been a blast from beginning to end. As mentioned in the previous episode, watch it if you haven't, MPS plays just like the older Mario Party games, featuring more in-depth boards taken from the Nintendo 64 trilogy of Mario Party games, a more refined list of 100 of the series' best minigames, and of course, stickers. Perfect for those moments when a plan to take someone's coins or stars through a chance time backfires. Nah, I was just kidding. What's actually most important is that there's a perfect balance between bullshit and skill throughout the game, which is what makes Mario Party, Mario Party. One thing's for sure, I'll be streaming this quite a bit once I actually get back to streaming. The ability to also play these boards online is a very nice touch. Discord calls have never been more obnoxious. Like I said previously, however, while the multiplayer is a blast, I think the game can only truly be enjoyed in that fashion. I think if the game had a more authentic single-player mode, that would give the lone player a bit more to do. Also DLC, please, I just want to play Neon Heights Online. If you do that, I'll throw money right your way. Mario Party Superstars is a good-looking, faithful, and more importantly, fun Mario Party game. And I'm hoping to see what ND Cube either does to expand upon this game, or to make the next potential Mario Party game just as fun. Easily one of the most enjoyable experiences to end the year with. Why the hell did it take me until this year to play this? As previously stated, I got super into the Metroid series earlier this year after trying Metroid Fusion for the first time. Not long after finishing both Fusion and Zero Mission, which both cost me a bit of a fortune, honestly, I jumped straight to Super Metroid. Yeah, I played these games in a bit of a weird order. I went from the fourth game, to a remake of the first, to the third game, and then to the remake of the second game. It's not like they're heavily story-driven anyway. Super Metroid, the third entry in the series, graced the Super Nintendo in 1994, and after playing through it twice, I can easily say that it's one of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games. The movement, combat, exploration, environments, music, it's 16-bit gaming at its finest.
The Metroid series has always been one that's had an emphasis on atmosphere, to really make the player feel like they're alone on a strange, mysterious planet. I think it's what makes the series so special in the first place.
Despite being on weaker hardware, every area in Super Metroid is brimming with detail. You have your underground jungles, the abandoned ghost ship, the fiery depths of Norfair, etc. It all tells a story without any dialogue, which is what I think what older games excelled at. In today's age, where most stories are told through dialogue, games where the story is told through the world you explore is 1,000 times more impactful in my opinion. Not only that, but the boss and enemy design are on point. The first time I fought Kraid, I was in complete awe as I watched him just casually takes up the entire screen, as well as the screen above. The other bosses invoke a similar feeling as well, keeping you on your toes. But of course, not only is the game nice to look at, but it's also super fun to play. The control is fine-tuned to perfection. The joy of Metroid games and Metroidvanias as a whole is this level of progression where you unlock new abilities as you explore more areas. Not only is it a good way to make the player feel weaker at the start, it makes those revisits through older areas just as exciting and make you feel powerful. Items like the Space Jump, Speed Booster, Ice Beam, Grapple Beam, Samus becomes such a versatile character by the end of the game. It's astonishing. The map has hundreds of forks in the road, leading to a heavily non-linear experience that encourages exploration to the highest degree, especially with all the hidden collectibles. One thing I wish for was that the game was longer, but I mean, that isn't a genuine complaint. The package itself is already outstanding, but it just leaves me wishing for more, in a good way. I think another slight downside is that Super Metroid is one of the originators of the Metroidvania genre, so I think if you're trying to 100% it, you'll need a guide to find those hidden items and get through those parts that are a little bit more cryptic. But Super Metroid is a damn good time, and I'm so happy that I got to experience this classic for the first time this year. Not only did it leave me satisfied with what I played, but it made me a fan of the series, which was a big help in the coming months if you catch my drift. Right off the bat, I would say that my comfort zone in gaming will always be Nintendo, but I can't deny the sheer amount of quality games that can be found on the PlayStation. Sony, through the company or through second or third party developers, have helped to forge some of the most iconic games of this generation, with some of the greatest stories like Last of Us, God of War, Uncharted, Persona 5, and countless others. When I managed to get my hands on a PS5 earlier this year, I immediately knew which game would be the first PS5 game in my library, and that game would be Insomniac's Spider-Man Miles Morales. I mean, to be fair, it's not like there were a bunch of other options to choose from. As a sort of sequel to the first Spider-Man game on the PS4, Miles Morales sees New York under the watchful eye of Peter Parker's pupil, Miles, a young boy who found himself with Spider-Man's powers after being bitten by, you guessed it, a radioactive spider. If you loved what you played from the original Spider-Man, you're gonna feel right at home here. Dude, this game is so fucking good. Swinging from building to building has this beautiful level of flow to it, where you can constantly keep your speed going. You got all these cool tricks you can pull off and ways to keep the momentum going. It's so satisfying, and honestly, encourages me to not use fast travel, which, by the way, is completely seamless and quick thanks to the hardware packed into the PS5. The combat is just as thrilling and super snappy thanks to the acrobatics Spider-Man is known for, and is made even better with the introduction of Miles' Venom powers as well as the new gadgets at his disposal. It feels so cool when you can pull off crazy shit like this closer to the start of the game. Miles as a character is also just super endearing, and I was compelled to see how the story continued as he tried to prove himself as the student to Peter Parker. I sunk hours into this game, and I do plan on completing it 100% because it's just so much fun. Again, I had to force myself to stop gathering footage for this one. Miles Morales was not only a great showcase to what the PS5 could do, but also an amazingly fun follow-up to the first game, and I'm so excited to see how Insomniac handles the next game. Well, if Super Metroid was on here, it's only fair to expect this. Not long after seeing what the Metroid series had to offer, the exciting time of E3 rolled around. I love finding more reasons to realize I'm broke. Ah yes, E3. What a wonderful time of year. Gathering some friends around and seeing what games are slated to release in the future. During Nintendo's showing, we got what I think was one of the best E3 announcements in general. Metroid Dread, a long-awaited sequel to Metroid Fusion. I was hyped. More than that. Really fucking hyped. Mercury Steam proved that they had a lot of potential with 2D Metroid with Samus Returns, and now it was time to see if they could deliver on an amazing original 2D adventure for Samus. It was so hard to put it down. So hard. Metroid Dread is fantastic on all fronts. Everything I said about Super Metroid applies to this game too. It feels like genuine Metroid. Fast, frantic, atmospheric, it all comes together beautifully. The Dread portion of this title isn't just for show either. The game is genuinely pretty nerve-wracking at times. Introducing the Emmy. Hostile robots sent to Planet ZDR, the setting of the game, by the Galactic Federation, only to stop responding upon landing. So how does Samus combat them? Nothing. Every Emmy zone you enter is a horrifying game of hide-and-seek where one fuck-up means immediate death unless you're super lucky with a counter. But don't rely on that. I genuinely have never been so tense playing a video game before. It's honestly kind of exciting. Making a mad dash away from the Emmy or hoping that your Phantom Cloak will be enough to convince them that you aren't around. It's a brilliant addition to the game that is a shining example of how Metroid should make you feel. It makes the player feel small, weak, like they can't do anything to fight back, which I think is brilliant for this kind of game. Not only are the enemies you face more threatening and the location much larger in terms of scope, Samus has some new toys to mess around with too. You got cool additions like the Storm Missile, the Spider Magnet, a slide maneuver which does wonders for keeping the flow consistent, this new Flash Shift move which is fun to use during boss battles, the counter from Samus Returns is much quicker and not as much of a pace breaker. Mercury Steam fine-tunes Samus's controls to utter perfection, and it feels beautiful in motion. I think one of the best parts of Metroid are those moments where you're constantly moving and being able to avoid the hazards and enemies in your way. The boss battles, ooh boy, each one feels like an event with all these dynamic camera angles and cool little finishing cutscenes. Everything is on such an epic scale, and many times I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck tingle because of how exciting the game felt at times. My only major downside here are the loading screens. Unlike Super Metroid, Dread's areas aren't easily interconnected, but more so connected via shuttles or elevators that act as loading screens. Unfortunately, they're kind of long too, which is a bit of a pace breaker. I know that with newer technology, making a seamless experience on that caliber run without any load screens is a lot to ask. But with a series like Metroid, one that encourages you to get around quickly, it creates a lot of unnecessary downtime, I feel. But that isn't enough to ruin the experience for me. Metroid Dread is honestly what I would consider to be peak 2D Metroid. With all these new movement options Samus has at her disposal, as well as an atmosphere that does a great job freaking you the fuck out, Metroid Dread is easily one of the major highlights of 2021. But one game has it beat in my opinion. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, now that's what I'm talking about! Mario has come back after Odyssey to deliver on another fantastic adventure. After a direct focused on Mario's 35th anniversary dropped in September of 2020, not only were we getting Mario 3D All-Stars, Mario Kart Live, and a bunch of other Mario-related content coming to other games, we were also getting a long-awaited port of Super Mario 3D World. While still a good game, I don't think the original 3D World was the Mario experience people were looking for on the Wii U, but nonetheless, it still served as a fun, chaotic Mario adventure that you could play with friends and family. I honestly do plan on giving this game a more thorough look at in the future, honestly. But not only were we getting a souped-up version of the original game, we were also getting a new campaign called Bowser's Fury, which definitely piqued many people's interest. Fast forward to February, and wow, this is an incredible package! 3D World has never felt better, with a plethora of quality life changes and changes to the control, adapting Mario's moves from Odyssey, like the dive. And of course, online multiplayer, but I warn you, 3D World is a little toxic online.
Okay.
Let's go.
I need help back. No, not that one. Other one. Other one! You bitch! You knew.
What?
You roll up, you do that!
I didn't
Your fault, it's your fault.
Oh my god. It wasn't my fault. You should have been keeping up.
And while the 3D World campaign is incredible, the main star of the show here is Bowser's Fury, an entirely new campaign based on the mechanics of 3D World. This is a goddamn masterpiece. A completely seamless open world with levels you can access without the need of loading screens. If you want to go to an area, you just go. It feels so incredible. Bowser's looking a little more pissed off lately, and it's up to Mario to travel to the new Lake Lapcat and slap some sense into him once again with the help of Bowser Jr. The new Lake Lapcat sees Mario going through a variety of unique and more importantly fun as hell platforming challenges that make use of Mario's moves from 3D World. Often you'll see each world focusing on a specific mechanic. Just like Miles Morales, it makes the act of traversing the worlds seamless and not to mention fun with how well Mario controls here. You would think that 3D World, a game that was more inspired by 2D Mario than 3D Mario, wouldn't control as well here in a game where you have full camera control, but it's quite the opposite. Mario controls like an absolute dream here. The joy of 3D Mario is how the player approaches challenges. While you have the routes that are intended by the devs, you can also think of your own ways to get around obstacles, which is what I think 3D Mario excels at. And this game is full of that. Items are more like permanent extensions to Mario's moveset, as you can access them at any time, and instead of reaching a goal, it's a bit more traditional, with Mario collecting cat shines, which are kind of like power moons, or stars in other games. One of the cooler visual details is Bowser just resting off in the distance, waiting to pounce again, and once he does, goddamn, it's an event for sure. The music is so bouncy and exciting no matter where you are. One moment you'll be bopping to some... and then you'll hop on Plessy to travel somewhere else, and then it'll go... It's full of that whimsical Mario charm that other songs in the series have been able to invoke. Bowser's Fury is a seamless experience where the fun does not stop, and I would play through it again in a heartbeat. All in all, it seems that Bowser's Fury acts kind of as a tech demo for a potential 3D Mario concept in the future, and if this is one of the ideas they're throwing on the table, then I'm really excited to see what they do with Mario in the future. Mario has always been able to provide hours of non-stop platforming action, and controlling him here has never felt better. Not only are you getting a great single-player campaign, but you also have the amazing package of 3D World too. This is easily a must-have for any Switch owner, and it was a complete thrill ride getting to take Mario on a brand new 3D adventure. There's no question. This is easily my game of the year.
And well, that's gonna do it. 2021 left us with an abundance of quality titles and dozens of hours of fun. And of course, I would absolutely recommend giving any of these games a try. Hopefully my opinion has swayed you to try them out for yourself. With that though, I think it's time to move on. But it was nice to take a look at the previous year and see all the highlights of 2021. And again, keep an eye out for a Let's Discuss episode in the coming days to see what you should be excited for in the coming year. With that, thank you all for watching, and have a great 2022. Fuck. Yeah? Check my mail, why? Check my mail, what is he talking about? God damn it!